Hey everybody, it's Jeff with Entrepreneur Essentials here again. Welcome to T-Werx Coworking. Once again, another wonderful entrepreneur. Rachelle is going to talk to us a little bit about the magazine publishing business, and I thought print was dead.
Yeah, everybody thinks print is dead.
Everything thinks print's dead,
We're
but
gonna
it's
change
still
your
there.
mind.
Dang it, we're going to talk about this and why it's still a viable resource for you. Once again, always remember, right down below me is our subscribe button. So if you want to make sure that you're made aware of all these things coming out, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, and you'll get the most recent updates. And as soon as this one comes out, you'll see this. The next one comes out, you'll also see it. So what I'd like to do, start off talking with Miss Rachelle Grossman. And thank you very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit, and I said Rachel, and it's Rachelle, excuse me.
If I had $1 for
everybody
variation
that said that,
of
yeah, my brain's not where
Rochelle,
you
Rachel, it's all
whatever.
good.
Yeah, it's like my last name.
Yeah, exactly. Kikel, Kikel.
Yeah, it's just whatever. I just answer to them all now. So tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting, and it's funny you mentioned print is dead because I come from a broadcast background and really have been a broadcast journalist really since I was 17. So I was working for a college radio station, but then I also worked for a radio station in the little town of Oxford, Ohio, where I went to school, and parlayed that into really a couple decades long television career.
It's not too shabby.
Yeah, and I'm showing my age a little. But then life, the broadcast field is exciting. It's a ton of work. It's an 80-hour grind. And 14 years ago, I had my first child, and then 16 months after, I had twins.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I had to figure out how to parlay being a mom, and I really wanted to be a good mom, with a career. And I realized that I probably had to step back from full-time broadcast news to do so. And before moving to Texas, it was my husband's job that took us here. I was blessed to have my own show on PBS called Your Voice, and it was heady, intense journalism. We'd pick a topic. It was a live call-in, table of the mayor and other people that would be in the city. It was wonderful, but when the economy tanked, my husband's job took us to Texas. So I spent a few months getting settled, getting the kids ready, and then I've always been a spokesperson for people as well, so I still kept some of those freelance corporate spokesperson opportunities going. But while I did that show called Your Voice in South Florida, I edited a magazine. And when we moved here, we had rented an Avery Ranch, and I went about I'm gonna just create my own magazine here. There's nothing like it here. And the way that business operated in South Florida wasn't just like a magazine. It was events and mixers and introductions for the people who the magazine was being delivered to and the businesses. So I made a business plan, and I was gonna do that here. Was hiring a photographer for the publication, and I was going to center it in Avery Ranch, only to find out that there already was an Avery Ranch magazine. It just hadn't come out yet, so I got beat, And my colleague Laura Terry publishes that publication now. I said, well, let me meet her. I realized she was a month away from print, and I was still at the beginning. So she said, given your background, the parent company I work with is called N2 Publishing, and they're growing. And we know that this Cedar Park, Northwest Austin corridor is really expanding. I think you'd be great for it. Let me put your name in as a recommendation. So I went through that process of, I guess, being awarded the franchise. Back then it wasn't a franchise. It is now. And quit my job. At that point, I was doing medical reporting, commuting downtown, hating the commute. I had hit the glass ceiling as well. That's just about all the growth I was going to have. It was cool. We'd go into hospitals and pharmacies and be pumped in waiting rooms and stuff. It was journalism, which is my passion, telling stories. But I wanted something where I could determine the ceiling, how much, my hours, how I could grow. And this opportunity came about. I quit my job, and 4 months later, I had a magazine in folks' homes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fast launch, too.
It was quick, yeah. Type A personality, so I worked hard. But I mean, a little bit of luck always helps as well.
It never hurts, but.
And having skill, I think the fact that I was a journalist, and you could, clearly see my resume gave people confidence in that I'd be able to do a good job.
Well, and you'd already done this before too, which is the other part of it, and it was not the same. So leading into that, tell me a little bit about what you do differently from your typical magazine publisher.
Sure. I guess simply put is we build relationships. The motto of our entire company is turning neighborhoods into communities. And I always say, and sales has been new to me, so when I launched this, I thought, I'm just going to write stories. Yeah, but
You pay for it.
Yeah, business sponsors fund the publication. So you can imagine how I'd have to convince business sponsors not only to put their trust in me, but to put their trust in the brand and the product, without even having like the hard copy in print. But I think we're different because I'll never take money as long as the check clears to place an ad. My bigger focus is it's a program, not an ad in a magazine. It's a program. And we seek to build relationships. I want to know the marketing specifics of the businesses I work with. I want to know their demographic. And we try to get them well known within our communities, really in a three-pronged approach. So the ad in the magazine is one way. We do editorial on each of the businesses as well. And then we have these really cool, customizable, and they're different every month, they're different every week, events where we facilitate introductions between our business partners and our residents. Now that's on the business side of things. On the neighborhood side of things, I find really cool stories about people that live in the community I serve. And what's cool about that is because our marketing strategy is really hyper-local, we write stories, it's like Facebook in print, that are so unique to the community. There's the nosy neighbor factor that comes into play. People want to know, who's this? It's my neighbor that's on the cover. And every time they turn the page, they see a story of,
another neighbor,
Right, it's, look, there's Susie's kid, and then there's the business features as well. Then there's the events that the community has. There is an athlete of the month, a kid of the month, a pet of the month, an event of the week. We feature nonprofits and the great volunteer work done for these nonprofits. So it's really readable. And I think advertising works as long as the ads are seen. We like to say we're welcomed into the neighborhood as opposed to being pushed on residents. So that's why we're different. And
it's not an intrusion, you become part of the neighborhood.
Part of the fabric of the neighborhood. And I do interviews really with the businesses first to make sure that they're going to take care of the residents within the community.
Well, and I think, one of the things I noticed differently from, and I think some of the newer folks that have done what you do, I think are all a byproduct of what Laura kind of did groundwork-wise was, okay, let's bring this community together. And there's really nobody else doing that. Which I think is a really cool part. It's what communities used to be. It was what small towns were, is you came together, you had your local newspaper reporter or magazine and you're doing that in just a neighborhood instead of a city.
I'm writing stories about really my friends at this point. And then the business owners become friends as well. And when you have that personal relationship, you're going to really work hard for that person too, because you want them to succeed. It's building relationships. And it's been fun. It's been a ton of work,
Nobody
it's
said
been
it
a
was
lot.
easy.
No, entrepreneurship is never easy. And it changes every day. And I think that's what I like about it too. Like for example, the event side of things, one of our business sponsors is a company local called Piranha Pools. And they don't have necessarily a dedicated storefront where I could hold, a social event and bring people to their business. So you have to get creative. So I partnered with, got the permission and partnered with the Homeowners Association to use the community pool. And what we did is hold something called a pool school. So we invited anybody in the community that had any questions about, chemistry, chemicals, pool builds, pool maintenance, you name it, free, just to get information.
Sure.
And of course, the people at Piranha Pools were wonderful, and they answered questions thoroughly. But it's that kind of marketing that we're doing, not, buy a pool today, buy it now.
Yes. Yeah. As fast as possible,
Yes.
too. Yeah, get it done. So I think that's what I see just makes you so different from what I've seen out there, and you work it every day.
Yeah.
You look for opportunities to work it that way. What's new in your world?
Oh, goodness. Well, we produce this every single month, so sitting at 44 pages. So
Nice.
It's a monthly. It's a monthly cycle, really, of finding the content, writing the stories, getting the stories edited, the photography. But really, the fun stuff, I would say, is kind of the event side of things. Have a brand new business in Cedar Park called the Beverly Hills Rejuvenation Center. We're hosting a fun little spa social at their event. Really it's a fun little happy hour. Working on a mompreneur event to help other really mom-based businesses,
I know a really good place you could hold that.
Could it possibly be here?
Maybe here in this very room, you could probably hold that here.
Done. Done. Check. Yeah, so I'm working on some cool events.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the difference is, okay, let's find things that we can do.
Yeah, it's creative.
And it's a continual process. It's not just, we do one big event and have to, you're on to the next. So.
Right. And we never, that's what I meant by, saying good luck, catch
have fun.
We really just are a partner with the community and really a partner with the residents. Kind of the most gratifying thing I get is people, they'll Facebook message each other. Hey, did you see who's on the cover? And oh, you're a superstar now. And they'll rush to the mailbox to get it.
Sure.
Santa Catarina is a Mexican restaurant, interior Mexican cuisine in Cedar Park, and we recently did an editorial feature on them. And I went in and talked to Francisco, and it made me feel so wonderful. I think I might have been having a not so wonderful day, but he gave me a big hug, and he's like, I feel like I'm a superstar now.
Yeah.
Because people literally brought the publication in.
Oh, that's cool.
Showed it to him, and of course him and his partner Jesus, their cousins, tell an awesome story. Got their start because an aunt gifted them a hamburger cart in Mexico. I mean, how awesome is that? I mean, and then look where they are now. They're two locations.
And amazing food. Amazing food.
But where their location was from my community, not a lot of people maybe would have driven by or known they were there.
It's a pretty straight shot, but if you're not purposely going that way, you wouldn't,
So now that people know they're there, they're making a beeline to get there because the food is so amazing.
Yes, I know. I've been there on a Friday night. Thank you.
Yes, sorry. Delicious margaritas too on
yes,
Friday nights.
By the way, but getting in there could be a problem, but amazing food. All right, fast five.
Okay.
So you wake up in the morning, you find out your business is totally gone, you have $500 in your pocket, a laptop computer, family is okay, and what do you do next? $500.
Well, considering I started this very grassroots with, it didn't require a lot of capital, really. I go buy a bottle of wine for later in the evening after I woke up because I'm going to work my tail off that day, but I think I would just do it again. Yeah, I mean, all right, so life hands you lemons. You can cry in your soup all day or put your big girl pants on and
Errol Flynn,
Favorite
thing Errol Flynn said is when you're on your ass, put on your best suit, go down the bar, and buy everybody a drink.
There you go.
Done.
There you go.
There you go. You
You're
start
building
all off again.
relationships.
There we go. Okay. What was your biggest business mistake? Entrepreneurial business mistake?
You know, this is kind of silly, and I still do some of this voiceover work, but I guess I had this notion that I was going to build a voiceover studio in my home. And I bought all this stuff, and having, I guess, the 3 kids and still working other jobs, I never built the voiceover studio. I've rented and used other voiceover studios, but I still have a microphone if you need it. It's a really good
start.
one. Get the mics, I got it, the computer, yeah. I got the padding for the walls.
Nice.
It's sitting in a closet.
Oops.
Yeah. I guess it wasn't my passion, though, at the end of the day.
That's the thing.
Sitting in front of a box,
Yeah.
talking.
You enjoy being on camera and being in front of people. Yeah.
Meeting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a good book that you would recommend?
Well, I've started about 6.
Okay.
Haven't finished any.
The life of a
Just yet?
newspaper and magazine person.
Right. And just crazy busy mom too. I think that falls into play because I think I get between about 12 and 450 of good sleep, and everything else is a good book. What's the one? Everything I ever needed to know, I learned in kindergarten. Yeah, that's a great one. I know we keep saying this whole build relationships, but it's the treat others as you want to be treated. It's I hate using even the word sales because it's not a part of who I am, but listen, hear what people are saying, and I think I haven't read it for a little long while, but that message of just respecting people. Yeah,
just the simple things in life.
Basic principles.
It's what your grandmother taught you, but hopefully you keep your teeth in when you do it.
Yeah. Oh, and I love the one motto, and I don't know if it's Lou Holtz or Spike Lee, but the whole "do the right thing." It's so simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
It can't be
work
any-
hard, do the right thing. If your gut's telling you it's not,
Then stop doing it. Yeah. What's a good tool you use every day in your business, like an Evernote or a OneNote or someone along those lines that might be useful to an entrepreneur?
I mean, it's all of the tools of social media. And there's a lot of research, between Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and knowing the different demographics that use more prominently each of these different tools. But it's almost like you can't not have some type of social media component to your business. And even though I think the print publication can stand on its own, the immediacy of social media cannot be beaten. So, whether it be Facebook Live, whether it be Alignable, whether it be LinkedIn, which I don't use so much anymore, but yeah, just all the social media tools that are available to you. Plus, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy, grassroots.
It's you, and half the time you're carrying around the tool in your pocket to do whatever you need to do. Yeah. So you can be a reporter. Anybody can be a reporter today, which is actually kind of cool. How do we get a hold of you? Or how do these folks get a hold of you?
Yeah. Well, I have an office here at T-Werx.
There we go. That's always a start.
But doing what I do, I often meet people at their business locations, so I'm not here, 24/7. Or sometimes when I need it to be really, 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 really super quiet, I have to kind of hold myself up when I'm writing. But they can call me. Call my cell phone, 737-226-8604, or get a hold of me via email, and it's my name, which is Rachelle.Grossman, Grossman, at N as in Nancy, 2 publishing.com. Rachelle.Grossman at n2pub.com.
Nice. Very good. Well, thank you very much for a wonderful interview. It's great to learn a little bit more about you and how you got to where you were at.
It was fun.
I
like being on that side, though.
I know you do.
This side's weird.
It's a little strange, but that's okay. And I don't like sitting on that side.
Yeah.
You
get
it. I don't like that. Yeah. So thank you, folks. Once again, I can't tell you how much Rachelle and I have gotten to know each other. One, her working here, but also seeing just the wonderful work she does with her magazine. A wonderful person to get to know. She is very connected in the community. I can't say how much she's done both for us here at T-Werx, but also for a lot of the nonprofits that we support in the community, of just making sure that information got out, which is really what our goal is all the time. So make sure you reach out to her, and if you're looking for a place to advertise, I can't tell you a better place to get in front of how many rooftops. And
yeah, we've got 2,000, just under 2,000 in terms of our distribution right now, but the community is building. I'm told the build out's going to be about 2,500. But
Nice.
the cool thing is, say a business wants to reach a neighborhood that isn't maybe Cedar Park, maybe they work in South Austin, I can still help them with that.
Which is very cool.
Yeah, so there's about 21 neighborhoods in the local Austin greater metro area, and we don't compete. We want to do what's right for the business in terms of their hyper-local focus.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think one of the cool parts about that is, if you are the one that got that person involved, you've done a lot of help, and just not to make this longer, but you do a lot of the work as far as helping them come up with,
Yeah, you still work with me.
approve
Yeah.
upon their ad copy, approve upon their ad, and then now you have their image, and you understand what they want to accomplish in those different communities.
Correct.
Which
From a
is kind of a fun thing, instead of saying, oh, we'll go talk to Laura for here, go talk to this one for here.
Yeah.
It's consistency from the branding standpoint
Exactly, and we still, manage the
and
client.
relationship
Yeah,
standpoint. So
absolutely.
no, I think that's a fantastic piece of it all. So once again, folks, make sure you subscribe right down below me, and make sure that, actually, I usually sit on that side, so right her feet is the
move.
subscription button. So make sure that you subscribe to this, and look for us coming back next week on Tuesday when we pop this thing out. And we've got a couple folks coming up as well that you're going to really enjoy. But hopefully you enjoyed this. See you next week. Thanks.